peace now. Worrying has never solved anything, but fear is after me. Second guessing, no stressing. Can I just control everything?
All right, welcome everybody to the first episode of the Straight Path podcast. I am one of your hosts, Gobari.
And I'm your second host. My name is Lena.
True. And yeah, so this is a podcast idea that we came up with just because we be having some real good conversations on a video chat, because Cena I don't know if you want me to tell them where you live, but Cena does not live in the same state that I live in. So we always got to talk through video chat. And as we're talking, we're always just like, yo, we need to make a podcast out of this. So this is a real good conversation. So here we are making a podcast out of it. And the Straight Path podcast, how we came up with that title is just, we be seeing a lot. Oh, wait, can we cuss at this or no? Because you try to share this with friends and family.
About what?
No, like, can I say cuss words? Can I curse or no? No, you want
Sure, man. Let's see.
I don't know.
Nah, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Because we be seeing through a lot of bullshit, right? So that's like what we try to call the straight path. Because in life, there's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of temptations. There's a lot of things that could take you off the path that we're all supposed to be on. So this podcast is just about, just trying to talk about how to live the best life possible, how to walk with God as best as possible, how to love our friends and family as best as possible, how to love ourselves as best as possible. So Cena, what are we talking about today? What's the topic for today?
I don't know, man. Maybe this year has been crazy with relationships and all of that. So I think it's the best time to talk about it, you know?
Which, that's real.
A lot of things happened from now since like last year or something.
So when it comes to relationships, what's one of the biggest things you've learned in this year, 2020?
Stop wasting your time, man.
What do you mean?
Nah, what I mean is, I think just being upfront. I mean, what to expect in the future, because you'll be just talking, but then like if there's no plan, what's the use? You know what I mean? That's one of the things I think is the major ones, is to just be upfront about what you should expect in the future and what to plan for. What about you?
Well, first, let me ask, do you think that applies to both romantic relationships and friendships? And also,
I don't know about friendships.
Wait. I was going to say, project your voice a little bit more. Like, just speak up a little bit more. Yeah.
I don't know about friendships, because, you know, like you with your boy, 4 months from now, I expect us to be, come on, bro, like, it's not going to be like that.
I'm asking you what you would.
Oh yeah, you got plans, you know, for the future. I want to go get some manicure and pedicure. And
That's real plans. That's real plans.
You know, I think it mainly applies to relationships, though. You know what I mean? I definitely think it does. And the sooner, you know, the better. That's what I think.
Yeah. I think for me, one of the biggest things I've learned this year, I mean, it's like a combination of what I was learning at the end of last year. So let's see. It's a combination of learning not to, I don't want to say depends too much on people. I think I've learned to not be as naive, perhaps. I think I'm like an optimistic person just naturally. So when I have a good connection with someone, I kind of just like had more of a expectation, I suppose, that, I think this person's going to be around for a long time kind of thing, right? But just I've had a lot of loss of friendships and relationships in the past year plus. So that's taught me to realize that, even if they say it to your face, like, we're gonna be friends for a long time, or I'm gonna be in your life for a long time, you can't always believe. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's 60 years down the road and you're still together,
Not
like,
that easily, at least.
yeah. But see, that's the second part of what I've learned is also not to be like all like jaded and hard, and then put up walls, right? And not be willing to enter into relationships, or not be willing to like give my emotions and my like effort into a relationship because I think, oh, this may end anyways. Like, no, it's so important to like love hard or whatever, and just to like be a good friend, or if it's a romantic relationship, just to like give my all on that. Like, that's part of a relationship, right? Like risk, right? Being in a relationship involves vulnerability, it involves risk, right? Like, there's no guarantee that all relationships will work. So
yeah, I think I told you this before. I think someone sent me a video. This is like they were saying it's in Arabic. He was saying the friendships are useless for 30 years unless it tests, when it comes to someone who needs help, you know what I mean, or someone who was struggling and needs help. So if I'm friends with someone for 30 years, but there's nothing that has tested us to, you know what I mean, like helping each other, then that friendship is pretty much like useless. But the whole point of friendship is to, whenever someone is in a bad situation or has a setback, that's when it proves how that shows the friendship between the two people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's real. Yeah, like, how can you know how real the relationship is until you actually go through something? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy to be there for someone when things are going good, when there's nothing that causes any type of tension or stress, right? Or like, how do you know what happens when you have a disagreement with the person, right? Like, do you want a friend that as soon as you guys disagree on something, like, oh, it's over, there's no way to fix that? Or like, when there's an argument, that you guys just stay mad? Like, nah, if it's a real friend, then they're gonna like love you like family in a sense, right? That's what I think. I think a real friend is essentially your family. You're just not related. That's kind of how I view friendships. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you fight with your family, right? Like, if you have an argument with your sister, your brother, or your mom, are you just gonna be like, all right, I'm not your son anymore. I'm not your brother anymore. Like, that's not how it works, right?
No.
Your family. Your family. So yeah, that's how I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm not your brother anymore. Well, yeah, that's cap.
That's a lot of cap.
Yeah, you'll be really thinking some stupid shit. When I was young, I would be thinking stuff like this whenever my sister or my brother would piss me off. I'd be like, yeah, man, 4 years from now, I'm not gonna know you no more. But it's just some stupid shit that you think, you know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Most people think about like, oh yeah, when I'm 18, I get to leave my house. You're thinking about, oh, I don't get to be your brother anymore. Wait, but that's a good segue, I think. What do you think are some of the biggest changes in your mindset from when you were in like middle school, high school, to now, post-grad, college, you have your job? Like, what are the biggest differences from when you were a kid versus now in terms of how you? I
mean, I stopped being around so many people like before. You know what I mean? I think when I was young, I used to hang out with a lot of people, even people like I don't know like that. It's just when I grow older, it's just my circle becomes smaller, and then I just want to be in a place where I just don't want to be like disturbed or annoyed. I just want to chill, in a peaceful place. Before, I wasn't like that though. I wasn't the type of person to just like to sit alone and just to myself, you know what I mean? Think to myself. It was just, I used to hang out with a lot of people, people used to just, people who I fought with, it's just, when you're young, I try to enjoy as much as I can, but also like at the same time, as I grow older, it's just, I learned to be more like watch out for stuff, but also at the same time, like be, have a peaceful life, forgiving, yes, like that. Just chill. That's all. I don't want to be around too many people. Don't, you know what I mean? I just speak to the same people every day.
So for you, what are? Because I feel like you're describing what you would prefer, like your like environment to be like with the people that are in your life. Mm-hmm. So with that, describe like your ideal friendship? Like, what are qualities you want a friend to have?
Just a lot of laughing, man. That's all.
That fucking elaborate.
Damn the talks. Damn the helping your friend. Just nah, I'm just playing now. Yeah, I mean, just making sure this being there whenever someone needs someone else. That's all, and being able to understand sometimes, and being open to understand different situations, and helping them too at the same time. I think that's the biggest one. Yeah, I wouldn't think like I don't have too many things to say. What I mean, it's just simple. And obviously, like it's gonna test you whether or not. So it's gonna show whether you're gonna be on that side, and on the side that's a real friend, or you're gonna just fall back. That's how it is. What about you?
Now I need to ask another question because I wonder if it'll be different. Romantic partner. What qualities do you want in them?
Respect, understanding, not too much ego. You know what I mean? Because it's just when I think when you have ego, it just leads to situations that you don't want to be in, and it can cause a lot of arguments. That even sometimes when you think about stuff, you think about the other person. You know what I mean? It might not even be true because you have ego. So you just overthinking, and then you never know how badly that could affect the relationship. Playing games, I think, going around the circle too much. I think that's very dangerous. You know what I mean? Because that just leads to trust, trust issues, egos. All this slowly builds up. Just like, Jay-Z said, the big bug. Donald Trump is the big bug. You have small bugs, and then they all became one big bug. So that's how I think I look at it. You know what I mean? How about you?
So for friendships, my ideal qualities would be loyalty, sincerity, like keep it real with me, you know what I'm saying? So like, if you disagree with me, like just like let's have a conversation about it, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't want it, like you said, I don't want something to build up, right? I don't want any type of like saltiness or like bitterness to build up, right? Like if you're upset with me about something, like let's address it. Like let's not let that build up, and then over time that develops into like an anger or something. Like no, if there's an issue, like because that's the thing. If we're really like, if we're a family that's not related, like if we're like, let's just like talk about it. Let's address it kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. And then also, so right now I think we keep talking about friendship in the context of when things are like going bad. That's how you know when they're friends. But I think it's also important to know, like when I'm doing good, like I want my friend to celebrate with me. You know what I'm saying? Like I want them to be happy when I'm doing good. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want them to either like be jealous when I'm doing good, or I don't want them to feel like, oh, like why is it all about him? Or it's like, no, when it's your time to celebrate, we'll celebrate you. When it's my time to celebrate, let's celebrate, like that kind of thing. Like for me, like when my family members do good, right? Like I'm genuinely happy. Like when my sister graduated college, like I'm so proud, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like that's my family, right? So I think it should be the same way, like when it comes to friends.
I think it's a good balance of both, though.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think honesty. I think morals and ethics, that's important, right? Like I can't be friends with someone that doesn't like have the same sense of like right and wrong, if that makes sense, right? Like I don't want to be hanging around with people that are like a bad influence or whatever, or like I don't know, who was it? Was it? I think it was Taylor Bennett, Chance the Rapper's brother. He was saying that like he can't be friends with anybody who doesn't take care of their children, right? Like now we're getting older and we're starting to be amongst that age where some of our friends are like starting to have kids and stuff and like having families. He's like, if you're one of my boys and you don't even take care of your kid, like we can't be friends. Mm-hmm. Like you don't have the same standard of like ethics, you know what I'm saying? Like we have to be on the same page as that. So yeah, things of that nature. Like you said, laughter. Like we have to have a good time. Like I want to be able to just enjoy your company when I'm around you, when I'm talking to you. That's important. Yeah, things like that. And then when it comes to a romantic partner, like the same things. I think just with a romantic partner, it's like amplified in terms of you're like my main person for the most part. I mean, you can still have like a best friend too, but with the romantic.
No, obviously, like when you have a girl, it's different. You know what I mean? Because
yeah, because
eventually you want to have a family.
Oh, what? But it's funny. I was talking to my girlfriend about this, and I was saying how it's so important to have a best friend, though. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, say if you're having an argument with your wife, right? Like, you still need to have someone who you can talk to about that, right? Because if all you do is talk to your wife all the time, like, if she's like the closest person you're with, when you fight with her, who do you talk to?
Exactly.
You still need other people that you can talk to.
Yeah. Best friend, or maybe like a family member, you know?
Yeah, for sure. But no, for sure that should be your wife should be, or your husband, like for the girls that are listening, it should be the closest person you're with, right? And I think in order to be that close, there has to be vulnerability. I think that's a key thing when it comes to it. Like you were saying, like no pride, no ego, right? Like you have to be comfortable sharing yourself with that person. You have to be careful, like all your thoughts that maybe you don't want other people to know, or like your insecurities, right? Like I think that person should be able to handle those things, and they should be able to help you like process it. There shouldn't be like a lot of judgment. Gentleness, I think, is very important. So that's the thing. Like, and this applies to both the romantic and just like the friendships. I want you to be real with me. So if you think I'm like doing something wrong, like be real. I don't want like a yes man, right, or a yes woman. But at the same time, how you tell someone something is important, right? Like at your job, right? Like if the way your boss be getting on your nerves, right? It's like people at work. I bet if they just change the way they said it, right? Like instead of being like, yo, you're on this warning, you're on this yada yada yada, and they're like, yo, see that if they started by saying all the good things you were doing first, like you'll see that your customers is great this, or you're on time, you do this, right? But we also need you to work on these areas, right? Like if they were to approach you in that way, it would help you not to feel like attacked, right? And it would help you not to feel like you're like, yeah, like they're just like beating down on you. So that's about like the way you tell people things, and also the timing is a key, right? Like we also just talk about timing in life, period. But it's like the timing and when you have different conversations, that's important. So yeah, those are some things that come to mind, just in terms of qualities for relationships.
Yeah, I think that's important too. I've had many situations where, you know, like people, like I've had, you know, managers that come up to, you know, employees, and they would say like, they would just start off with the bad things, that like the wrong things that they did. So I would see them feel like attacked, you know what I mean? Or, you know, I don't know. It's just an uncomfortable situation. I think it's definitely about how you say it. You know what I mean? I would definitely say that. That's 90%, and then the 10% is what you say. You know what I mean? But how you say it, I think, is the most important thing. Like one thing I learned is when I want to tell people to do something, I wouldn't tell them like, hey, you should do this. I would just say like, hey, what I would do instead is boom, boom. You know what I mean? Like it's not telling them that you should do this, but also at the same time you tell them like what you're giving them the option of like what to show them like what I would do. You know what I mean? So like let's say I'm telling them to, you know, go you know, write a report, right? And I won't tell them like, hey, you should write this report today. I'll be like, hey, what I would do today is, you know, boom, boom, you know, it's just to show like just how you say it is, I think, is really important.
And they will be different though in word context, if that makes sense. Like, or even like when you're a parent, right? You're not gonna tell your kid like, yo, I think you should go to, like, I would go to bed right now if I were you, right? You wouldn't tell like, I would clean up your room. You were like, no, I'm your dad. Clean up your room. Go to bed. You know what I'm saying? So, but
oh yeah, I'm not gonna tell you. Oh yeah. What I would do is, you get your ass to bed, man. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna tell him like, oh yeah, what I would do is this, and then he go back playing PS5 or whatever, you know what I mean? Like I'm just be like, get your ass to the room right now before I hit you.
Man, we have an American audience. I don't know if we're gonna say hitting our children that much.
We're about to call child services over here.
Just spank. Don't say hit. Just like a light pat.
I mean, if we have minorities watching, we're fine, you know.
No. Yeah. Spanking is a real thing. Like as long as you're not like abusing your children, but maybe we need to have another. We have to have a whole nother podcast on disciplining children. Maybe that's and like what we learned when we got spanked growing up, right? Like I think spanking helped me, whatever it's worth. Because I learned my lesson. Once I got spanked, I'm like, all right, I'm not doing that again. But so yeah, I think so. When it comes to like gentleness and telling the truth, I think it also comes to like the word discernment, right? Or just like the ability to know when to do which, in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, because as a parent too, right? We're gonna have to know when it's important to be like the authoritarian with our child and let them know, like, yo, I'm your parent. Like, you have to respect me, right? But there's also times where we have to be gentle with them, right? And like we want to let them know, yo, you can talk to me about these things. Because if all the time we're just like this big like macho man with our children, they're not going to feel comfortable to come talk to us about some things, right? Because they're going to be like, yo, I feel like he doesn't even listen to me. Like he doesn't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's important to have the right balance. And I think the same thing goes with relationships. Like sometimes you do need someone just to give you a kick in the butt, right? Like I mean, you'll see, like, give me a burst, you know, like I need a song, yo, right? Other times you need someone who's gentle, is like, yo, like, all right, talk to me, like, why haven't you made a song yet? Like, what's been going through your mind? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need that right balance of being gentle, but then also like assertive. So that's important to know too, I think.
Yeah, man. I think it's just a balance. You know what I mean? You can't be too harsh on them, but also like they have to be disciplined at the same time and make sure you talk to them the most. I think old generation maybe is not used to that though. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like talking to your parents openly about everything.
Nah. That is because it's like what's there to talk about. I feel like that's kind of the mentality because I think a lot of which confuses me. I don't know. I feel like, yeah. I mean, I think we do have to have another episode just about like our generation and things that are good about our generation and things that are bad. Because I think on one hand, our generation is good, right? Because I think we are more of that like therapy generation, right? Like we are more of that generation that's more like in tune with our emotions and realizes how important it is to like being able to express that.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, our generation can also be kind of like soft in a sense, you know what I'm saying? Like everything offends everybody and like anyone wants to get canceled for everything.
Oh yeah, everybody trying to like, come on, bro. This whole cancel culture thing is.
Yeah. So there's pros and there's cons to being sensitive about.
But that's what you sign up for, hey. You know what I mean? Like if you want to be on social media, you got to look at the bad. You have to sign up for the bad parts as well. You're not just going to see the good parts of it.
Ooh, and don't you think that applies for relationships too? Like,
yep.
Relationships can't always be.
You can't just expect. The first, maybe the first 6 months you're gonna go on honeymoon, boom. But also, like you signed up for it.
Till death.
You know what I mean? Till death. You know, so you gotta. What's the use of all the good stuff happening? Because if it's only the good stuff, then there's no progress in the relationship. It's easier said than done. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know what I mean? Even though like I've been through some stuff, but also like I'm not on their level yet where I have the responsibility to marry and get kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think maybe a good way because as I was thinking about this, I have not timed this, and Zoom sucks because it doesn't tell you how long. Does it tell you how long we've been recording?
I think it's been about 20-25 minutes.
Okay, so I think the last way we could end it maybe is what have you learned from our friendship? We get all deep and sentimental. So from freshman year of college to now, what are some things you've learned maybe about yourself, just about friendship in general, or any takeaways?
I think we have our serious moments and then not too serious moments. You know what I mean? I think that's the good part of it. Like sometimes we don't take things too seriously. You know what I mean? And then sometimes we do take things seriously. So I think a good balance of that is really helpful. You know? Yeah, that's one of the things. We'll just go one-on-one. Let's go.
I learned patience.
I know I already know what you're about to say. I already know what you're about to say, bro. Ooh, child.
Nah, that's not the first date. I've learned. What have I learned? Damn. How long have we known each other? Like 6 years? It might be next year? Has it?
5 years. About 5 years now.
But
More than 5 years. I think 5 years and like 3 months.
Yeah, 5.5. Yeah. Something like that. Well, no, because we started college 2015, right?
Yep. So August 2015.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 5 years. Yeah, 5 years ago. Man. I feel we need to have a whole other topic of what it was like to you, your first semester at Quinnipiac, just like what, because I feel like you changed a lot from your first semester till now. Yeah, just like
I changed physically, I changed externally and internally, all of the internalies and all. Physically, biologically, geographically.
I've changed.
I changed emotionally. I changed. What's the other ones? Let's see. Hypothetically, mathematically, all of them. Please, I changed all of that.
Yeah, all the that's good. But for me, yeah, I think I've learned to like. Damn, it's been a lot, yo.
Am I the only one who had like the major transformation about everything? Because if you see me 5 years ago, you wouldn't even recognize me like that. You know what I mean?
I think that's everyone in college. Well, not everyone, but like a good amount of people in college.
Me with no beard, short hair. You know, everything was changed. It's different. Damn.
Yeah. I think I've learned how to like. How can I word it? Because as I was coming to college, right, I was also being like a part of the Christian fellowship stuff too. So with that was teaching me how to be like more vulnerable, right? Like college, just like with QCF and stuff, that helped me to know how to like open up about my feelings too. And me and you were being friends at the same time, right? So I think that's pretty safe to say. Like you are one of the first like friends, like guy friends I've had that like I've like opened up to as much, if that makes sense. But like in a different way. Cause before I could tell a guy for like, yo, like I'm having a rough day or whatever. But like me and you be on like the therapy session type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like we be breaking it down. So that's definitely helpful. Patience are like a good way.
You sticking on that patience part right there. You never forgot that.
All right, ready? I'll start on my side. Patience, because there's been times where like you haven't heard from me in a week, 2 weeks, or like we be living in the same dorm room and I want to talk to you.
5 weeks, 7 weeks.
Chill. So like patience on my, because we do have to learn to have patience with ourselves, right? And there were plenty of times where like, yo, I'm being like a shitty friend and I don't mean to, just like we have to have a whole nother episode about like depression and stuff like that. But just like me being patient with myself, like, yo, I want to be a better friend than this. Like it's whack to like not talk to someone, et cetera. But that's like, I'm grateful for your patience, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm grateful with your patience as a friend. So like that understanding, like, yo, I know G's just like going through a tough time right now, right? Because like some other friends, they would get annoyed with that, right? Like, yo, like get it together, like snap out of it. Like this is annoying that like you're not talking to me for a long period of time, you know what I'm saying? But that's the thing, I feel, and that's where like the like brother aspect comes into play, right? Like, because if we were related, if you knew I was going through a tough time, right, you wouldn't be like, oh, like that's my brother. I hope he like gets better soon, right? You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't be like, oh, my brother's not talking to me. Like we're not brothers anymore. So I think that's kind of how that applies in a friendship. So yeah, that I'm super grateful for that. And the patience, because you get on my nerves.
Oh hell! Nah, you telling me you get on my nerves too, bro.
But you see how I did that? You see that example of how I gave the positive first? And then now you see that strategy. You see,
it's positive. Now he about to spill all the tea.
I won't, because I need a whole other episode for that. So. I think the title of this episode is going to be a whole other episode.
Yep, that's a continuation. I think we need a season just on relationship. You know what I mean?
That's real. But yeah, so I would say, it would not just you, just living with people in general. That like, you need patience living with your family. You definitely need patience living with someone who's not your family. You know what I'm saying? So that just being like roommates in college, that taught me about patience too. But yeah, man, I think this would probably be a good place to end, and yeah, we can see how we want to continue talking about relationships. I don't know. We haven't really figured out how do we want to end these things. Do we want to end with like a quote of the day? Do you want to end with
like, share, and subscribe?
that for sure. Smash that like button. Comment below.
Welcome to the best family on YouTube. Like some bullshit like that. All I'm gonna end is watch out for the next episode.
Yeah, for sure. You know,
Cash App me. My Cash App is.
Hey, man. Well, I think it would be dope if we have some Straight Path merch. So like, if they want to Cash App us a little GoFundMe, you know, get it started, but we'll figure it out. But for real, we hope y'all enjoyed this first episode of the Straight Path podcast. Yeah, we hope it helps y'all walk on your straight path in life. We hope it brings y'all some laughter, some joy, some insight. Yep. Whether you listen on your way to work, whether you listen as you're like getting ready in the bathroom, wherever you're listening to us, we hope it helps y'all. So be blessed.
Yes, stay safe.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll see y'all next time.
Deuces.